Good evening. My name is Marty Hibbs, and I'd like to welcome you to the commodity update for Bull Shift 2020 on Tuesday, the 6th of September. The weekend is now in the rearview mirror, and we've got a bit of action going on here. I find generally that after the long weekends, we have a tendency to have a lot of volatility. Well, it's the first day back, and it's not too serious yet, but we're getting a bit of excitement, and let's go right to the charts and see what we have. First of all, as everybody knows, we've been following this dollar index as the key commodity, or the key marker, I should say, for all commodities. And this, of course, is the one that's front and center. And this is the one we're most concerned with, because as most of you know that follow me on crypto viewing, this is the one we've been focusing on, because a lot of the markets react exactly against the dollar index. So what we've got here is a brand new high today. As you can see, we got up to the 110.55, ever so close to our 112 target up here. I still believe we're on our way to this 112, possibly even higher initially. Now, again, guys and girls, we talked about this. Let me show you the chart of the weekly dollar index. As you can see, I've got two targets here. The primary one, which is around the 112 up to about maybe 114, 115, and then the 120, which will be much larger. And believe it or not, if things get really insane, we're looking at possibly something up around the 144. Now, having said that, let's not even talk about that, because that's not even on the table yet. What is on the table is that we're getting close to a top here, whether it be short term or for real. My guess is that within the next day or two, 48 hours, guys, it is now 6:30 p.m. on the 6th of September, Tuesday. And my hunch is that if we continue for another day or two to the upside, and we get anywhere close to our 112 by, say, Thursday, that we will have a good correction from that level. So I'm thinking by Thursday, if we continue up here, it's going to run out of steam, and we're going to start seeing a good correction. Who knows? It might even go all the way back to the 102, 100 par, whatever. We'll see. But right now, be cautious, because we are still making newer highs every day, but not strong moves. So I am expecting that if we do continue in the next day or two upwards and make new highs, that it's going to run out of steam possibly by Thursday, Friday at the latest, and we should from there have a decent correction, okay? But again, remember, this dollar is basically, in my opinion, the strongest of a bad lot of currencies right now, because what's happening in euro, I noticed the euro currency today was down quite a bit, about 1.5 points. As we speak, it's unchanged on the day at 99 cents. So it's below par. Let me just show it here, because I'm already speaking about it. I might as well show you the chart. There's what we've got going on in the euro currency. And of course, down there, those are just numbers that my computer had given me. They're long-term numbers. We may never see them, so don't worry about them. But right now, as we just continue to degrade here, and we are getting lower. And as it does, that's one of the 5 currencies in the basket of the dollar index. And as it goes lower, the dollar inversely goes the opposite direction. So again, what I'm looking for possibly later this month into October is a big move in this dollar. And if we do, it's going to be a great opportunity, I believe, to get short. And we can do that in several different ways. Anyway, that's enough on the dollar. Let's move to the next one. Stock market today was basically a non-event. We were down about 20, 25 points on the S&P at one point. And of course, pretty much ended up unchanged on the day. So as you can see, we've got more support as we go lower here, down around this 3,800 level. But we're getting a really nice correction, nice bottom, double bottom being put in here. And the key, of course, is it going to hold when we get back to this 3,600 level? And is it going to rocket back up from here in the next month or two? Or is this going to culminate to a bottom much lower, down into the low 30s? We'll find out in time, but right now it's just a matter of guessing. This market is trading in both directions. Any rallies at this point, I am buying put options or using the mini contracts to short, and it's worked out quite well. But as we get lower here, back to test this pivot here at 3,700, I will stop shorting it and maybe possibly just buy some options or keep the options I've got on the short side, because I am expecting over the next month or two to see much lower prices in the stock market. I think everybody pretty much is, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, going into the metals, we had a nothing burger again on the metals. We had a nice bounce this morning, started off very nicely, and gold got up to around the 1740 level. And right now we're back to 1712. So we had a bit of a profit, lost it all. Silver is another one. Had a nice profit this morning, or I shouldn't say profit, a nice bounce. We got as high as 1850 on the lead month contract, and we're now currently at 1787. Lost the whole 50 cents that we gained earlier today. So there's still a lot of downward pressure on these markets. I'm not going to go too much into the analytics, but I do like silver here. I love the physical silver, but I'm also looking to trade silver here if we can get it low enough. And there's a couple of strategies I'm looking at for those people that took the course. We're going to look at doing some option strategies to maybe do possibly a bull spread or maybe a butterfly or condor. There's a couple of strategies going way out. And the only thing you have to do there at that point is kind of get an idea of where you think silver will be come spring. And if you can get it right within maybe $5–10, you can make yourself a lot of money with these strategies. But right now, we're holding our own. We're still at the 1785 level, which of course is a fictitious number in the sense that this market is highly controlled. Paper products or the paper markets can be dropped at the blink of an eye if somebody intends to do it. And when I say somebody, we're referring to possibly the people that were just charged a few $1 million for playing with these markets. And you know who I'm talking about. We don't need to go into detail. Okay, move out of there. Let's get to Bitcoin. We've got an interesting formation here in Bitcoin. As you can see, we've already done this last night with the crew on crypto viewing. So there's nothing really new except today, it looks like we did break back below this. Oh, we did. Look at this. Wow. So we were looking for a move down to the bottom here around the 18.5, 18.6, and believe it or not, we are there. Now, of course, the next one down is the bottom that we put in back in June, and that's around the 17.6, and we did suggest that we're possibly going there. I think we are. We may go sideways for a few days or so and form another flag, and that'll bring us down to that level. Personally, there's a good chance that we may not go much lower than that. That could be the bottom. So with that in mind, I'm looking at that point to adding to my portfolio on Bitcoin itself. However, I'm not suggesting that that is definitely the bottom. That is one potential bottom, and I do think we will visit it. So at that level, I'm looking at buying some more Bitcoin. And then I've got a couple of other targets. And of course, one is maybe mid teens, anywhere from 14 to 16. And then ultimately, the worst case scenario, I think we could possibly visit 12. Now, if you go back to May of last year, I threw that number out there that I said we're going to go to 30 first, then 20, and then possibly 12. And that's when Dick almost fell off his chair. So it's not a shock. We know it could be coming. We don't know, but there's a lot of things going on this fall, including things in cryptos, more to do with Ethereum, which we'll look at in a minute. But at the same time, what affects Ethereum will probably affect Bitcoin. So yeah, very nice. We did break today. I didn't notice that, but we came right to this bottom. And we did mention that on the video we did with Dick yesterday, that the flag would bring us down to this level. And then we still have one more level. And at that point, I do believe, especially if it happens in the next week, that we very easily could be looking at an opportunity to add to your portfolio. Not trading advice, but I know I'll be doing that. And then, of course, I'll be scaling down, trying to buy more in the mid-teens. And the orders have to be in because it's not going to wait for anybody. And then ultimately, 12. Some people said maybe 10, maybe not. I don't know. The point is, I'll be happy if I can get more around 12. That'll reduce my cost overall. Ethereum is the big one we're concerned with or talking about. Of course, all the hype is there. And I just actually listened to a gentleman. Somebody sent me a video of a guy. I'm not going to say who it is because I try not to watch this stuff. And I looked at his analysis and I wrote, wow, we're not in agreement. He has a tendency to think that this move right here is a strong move and that we could possibly move back to the 2000 level. Of course we could. I'm not saying we can't, but I don't believe that. I believe we're going lower back to this minor trend line, which is closer to the 1350. However, we have to wait and see what's going to happen here because, again, if Ethereum rolls out in a good light and everything goes smoothly, people are talking about it really starting to move. My belief is that it would be the opposite. If people are already anticipating the new rollout of Ethereum 2.0 and things go as expected, my guess is when that happens and people are happy and reveling in it, I think at that point, that's when the shock will come and we may get a good dump in Ethereum. And at that point, I think I'd be looking at buying more. I do like Ethereum a lot. And as we said before, back a while, maybe a couple of months ago, that I said Ethereum will gain on Bitcoin significantly once we broke through this level here at the 0.5. Well, of course, now we're up at, wow, 0.8 and change. And I said my target would be right around the par, which is right up in this area here. So if we get up to this area 0.9 or better, at that point, I think it will be possibly a time to reverse, which means basically that Bitcoin would start gaining on Ethereum. Whether they go up, Bitcoin goes up more than Ethereum, or if they start dropping, Ethereum would drop more than Bitcoin. Because again, this is just a spread trade, guys, and it's done very, very nicely. Ethereum has indeed done very well and has gained significantly on Bitcoin since just a month ago, all right? Or maybe 2 months ago. All right, let's move to the next one. I'm not going to look at too many more cryptos. We already went through it. Go check out Dick's channel. But corn, here we go. Good old corn again. We had a nice move again today on corn. Let me get rid of these things here. And as you can see, we're headed towards the gap. We're headed up towards our target of about 7 to 725. And I'm fairly confident within the next week or two, we should see it. Now, what happens at 7 to 725? We bought some options back around the 625, 650s. We also bought sevens, we bought 725s, we bought eights. So I believe if we get up to the 725, I'm going to lift at least half of my 625s and 650 calls because they're deep in the money and it's just too much money to risk for an option. And I believe at that point, we step off the bus, but we still have our sevens, 725, 750, $8. So it's all looking good, but we should have trouble up around the 7.25. And I think 7 to 7.25. At that point, we should look for a pullback. And maybe if we get the pullback, we may be looking at adding to our position. Okay. Wheat also is looking bottoming. I believe, as I said before, we're putting in a bit of a rounded bottom. It'd take a bit more time because, again, as I mentioned, wheat will probably experience an uplift, mostly based on other factors, not the fact that the crop is in trouble because it's already harvested both in the Ukraine and in America and even in South America from last year. So what I'm looking at here is potential trouble for corn, which would in turn cause wheat to move up because of the substitution factor. So it looks good here, and it's a good spot to be accumulating it. I'm looking at possibly doing some call spreads out to December at least, or maybe even into March, okay? And then again, we talked about this. We're looking at a couple of gold mining stocks, and they're getting very close to my target. I really like these areas. This is Newmont Mining, which is a streaming company, and I think it's got a lot of potential in the long term, guys. Not on leverage, buying it, putting it away. You own it. You own the shares. The other one I mentioned was Pan American, and we're ever so close to our target. I might pull the trigger on it this week because I believe possibly if that dollar gets higher, which I think it will, this should put more pressure on these gold mining stocks, and we may actually see our target. I do believe we're going to see it this month without a doubt, but I think we could see it sooner. So I'm keeping an eye on that there. And then, of course, wheat and precious metals is another excellent opportunity. And I'm not sure my target there, but I'm thinking it could possibly go sub 40. And at that point, I might be looking at adding more. Now, these can also be traded by options. Anyone that's interested in just trading these stocks, they're pretty liquid. You might want to consider using options, doing some option strategies on it if you want to get in and get some leverage. So anyway, that's pretty much it for the day. It wasn't blowout day. I was waiting to see how it would behave. We had a bit of activity in the metals and in the stock market, but it basically ended up going back to where it started. So all in all, not a lot to report, but I will keep an eye on these things. And guess what? If we see anything later in the week, or if I see anything earth shattering or anything real surprise, I'll be coming on again. So just keep in mind that these recordings that I'm doing for Bullshift 2020 are only being shown on Bullshift 2020 through either YouTube or the channel itself. If you're on here, obviously you've signed up, meaning that you put your email in and you will be notified. There's no charge for this at the moment. We're just giving away this analysis total free to our members. And going forward, we're making some different packages available. Possibly one we will be doing actual recommendations, which means where to get in and where to get out. But we're not there yet. We're very happy with the progress we've made with the site. We've got about 700 members right now. Tell your friends about it. If it's on YouTube, click the like button, possibly share it. And you'll be notified the next time we have a video. So until then, have a great evening, guys and girls.